This content is primarily for adults as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say viewer discretion is advised.
What up? 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 Good night.
Sweet.
Where we going with it? We going right there with it. That's where we want to go with it. Something seem like it ain't right. Something don't seem right. Well, we're going to have to figure it out. We're going to have to deal with it. What's going on? Come on in. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. How's everybody doing this evening? Hope everybody's doing well. Let me see something. Oh, no, something don't seem right. It's late, man. We ain't going to worry about it. It's late night with Mark. What episode is this? 5? Episode 5. I've been doing good, man. I've been doing it once a week. I think over the Christmas break, I did it twice a week. Let's see if we can get through 10 weeks of this, of doing one late night show to hit my late night crew. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Shout out to Almighty Transportation. Shout out to Eddie Kim. Shout out to 608. Shout out to SD Walt. Shout out to Jenny in a Bottle. Who else we got? Shout out to Kobe. Shout out to Thomas Fowler. Ivan Tony said, can't go wrong with Mary, man. It's the queen, bro. Listen. Mary, bro. Mary, when I think about Mary, I think about the mid-90s. I think about high school. I think about good times. I remember when that Waiting to Exhale soundtrack came out. What year was that? With the Not Gonna Cry on it. I remember my cousin, one of my female cousins, played that song so many times. I got a lot of good memories from Mary. That's the queen right there, bro. Mary the queen. Mary the queen, man. Box truck. Yeah, Mary a legend. Mary a legend, bro. Mary a legend, bro. Mary a legend, bro. Ain't nobody fucking with my girl Mary, man. Shout out to 608. All right, boom. Let's get into it. Repossession. It's something that it's affecting a lot of people. I know quite a few people last year. When I say last year, 2025, that got repossessed. I had to help a couple people out. I told a lot of people no, but I helped some people out. The last person I helped out was during the week of Christmas. Car got repossessed that Monday. Christmas was that Thursday. So 4 or 5 people I know in the second half of last year. Pretty much most of it happened in the fourth quarter. I helped out 2 people. I can't help everybody. You know, some people, they just got to fall on the sword and die. But, you know, some people that I will help, and I help a couple people. And I think a lot of people I know people. I was talking to my barber. His girlfriend's daughter just got her car repossessed. A lot of people getting their cars repossessed. It's become an epidemic. This is the worst it's ever been. I already know why it's going on, but we're going to react to a couple videos. Obviously, I'm going to do my commentary. You know, sad situation. You know, a lot of people put themselves into these situations because they just don't understand how to buy a car. a lot of people buy things that are beyond, or not beyond, things that are just are outside their means. You know, a lot of people don't live within their means. You know, everybody wants to look a certain way nowadays. And, you know, cars are more expensive now with the technology that's put in cars. But I think a lot of people, you know, still decide to go out and get something that they really can't afford and it's outside their means. This is someone that I don't know directly, but somebody that I know through somebody who got their car repossessed. And this person doesn't account for the people that I know directly that I just talked about a minute ago. But this is somebody that I know through somebody who bought a car 4 or 5 months ago, maybe. And it was a new car. It was a Toyota RAV4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the note was like $700. And it got repossessed. But no, it didn't get repossessed. I'm sorry. She bought the RAV4. And obviously, when you buy a new car, you get a 45-day grace period before the first note is due. She bought the new car. 45 days went past when the first note was due. She didn't have it. Second month note was due. She didn't have it. So she's in repossession. She never made the note. She got so far behind. It was up for repossession, and the buddy of mine actually put the money up. I don't know what the status is now, but he put the money up. I haven't asked him, did she pay him back and how she kept up with the notes. But her situation was she bought something that was a little bit outside her means, and the justification of getting the car and the note was, well, I'll just do some door dashing or some Instacart or whatever to make up the extra money to cover the note. She wanted I think it was a RAV4, but she really couldn't afford it. So the justification for getting it was doing gig work on the side. But we know a lot of people just, you know, the consistency you have to have. You talking about you signed a 72-month, so you gonna do gig work for 6 years? So we knew that shit wasn't gonna fly, but it is what it is. A lot of people into this situation. So we want to react to a couple videos, and I'm gonna do my commentary. We're gonna see what is going on out here in these streets that all these people is getting their cars repoed. So let's get into this. You dig? Let's see what's going on out in these streets, man.
America is currently going through a bit of a car repossession boom. Delinquent auto debt over 60 days past due is at the highest level it has ever been, including during the global financial crisis. More repossessions than ever have taken place within the last quarter, and even if you don't personally have a car loan, this could still become a systemic issue that impacts you because auto debt as a whole is higher than it has ever been before. This record debt has also combined with record levels of depreciation to result in massive negative equity.
You're right. I think it was a Jeep. I think you're right. It was a Jeep. I knew it was some type of SUV.
For more borrowers, making it harder than ever to back out of these deals, especially on certain classes of vehicles. Now, that sounds pretty bad just on the surface,
worst car to
but
get. Don't ever get one. I got out of mine 2 years in. I mean, I got mine different, so you know, I was able to get out of mine with a good sale value. When did I get out of that car? January 2024. Yeah, January 2024. Tesla's resale value sucks. You want to get out of that before the battery really starts to go really, really bad. The battery is damn near 20 grand. And, you know, the car might not even be worth 20 grand. It's just not worth it. So anybody that's looking to get an electric car, I would think otherwise.
Several reports have found that we have slowly made auto lending so complicated and fragmented that between leases, lending, buy here, pay here, cross-collateralized loans, and every other type of way to finance a car, it's become next to impossible to track down how much we really owe and how much is actually being paid back. Even the regulators themselves have basically admitted that they don't really know how bad the problem is and how much this could all hurt regular consumers. Now, I know this all sounds like yet another symptom of people's personal finances being squeezed, which is, by itself, not exactly that shocking anymore. However, the current repossession boom is, for now at least, a specifically American problem. A problem that is saying a lot of bad things about the unique ways that we borrow, consume, and go broke.
And I don't know. I just feel like a $500 plus car note is absurd.
Record number of.
She said a 500 car. Listen, and don't take me because I've been buying luxury and expensive cars for a long time now. So 500 to me, and I'm saying this humbly, that's a light car note. You dig what I'm saying? But for most people, especially women, that's a hefty car note. You know, a lot of women, they, get economy cars, like Nissan Sentras and like little Nissan Altimas and little shit, little Toyota Corollas and shit like that. And for the most part, them notes was a couple $100, maybe like $200-300, man. The most I might have heard a chick paying you did for a car note, about $400. But now, $500, $600, like the chick that I was giving the example, her note is $700. I understand it, but to me, like $700 really ain't no money for no car note. But to a lot of women, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money, and like you heard her say, $500 is a lot of money for, I guess, for a car. But like with new cars now, with the technology, you can't go get a new car no more like you could. You could get like a nice economy car. Shit, not even that long ago, maybe like 7, 8, 9 years ago, you can go get you like a base model, like economy car for like 20-something thousand, bro. Like now, man, like a base economy car, like $40. So, I get it, man. I don't know what the little chick's gonna do that's used to getting the Corollas and shit, man. That little $300 note, man, that shit is out the window, bro.
Americans are falling behind on their car payment.
I have $60,000 worth of car debt.
Those loans coming with higher interest rates for buyers with limited income or credit scores.
The more concerning part, the interest
now, she got the BBL and she got the Louis bag. She got the damn mirror. She got the damn mirror Louis bag. Hold on. So she should be able to pay her car note.
$100
Hold on. I fast forwarded too much.
With limited income or credit scores.
Is that the Louis? Yeah, she got the Louis. That ain't the damn mirror. That's the monogram joint. She got the little crossover monogram joint. Little BBL action. Man, she should be able to pay for her car note, man. What we talking about?
The more concerning part, the interest rate being 37% nearly.
Well, the repo man is in high demand. They're working overtime.
It is draining us. It is taking things away from my children.
That's her loan amount? That ain't shit. $21,708. That's light. That's like depending on how many years, it might be like a $3-$4 car note, $400 a month car note.
It is taking things away from my children.
According to the Recovery Database Network, car repossessions hit a 14-year high in 2024, only slightly behind their peak in 2009. We have already passed that peak this year, and we still have a few months to go. This is especially concerning because consumer protection laws around repossessions have generally gotten stronger since the global financial crisis, which means the same number of repossessions is an indication that borrowers are in an even worse financial situation. Today, repossessions have become such a large industry that it's even attracted the tech bros to skirt around regulations. Some of the old tricks, like impersonating a Target with their utility providers to get their address, have been specifically outlawed. So today, repo men take a different approach. Companies like Resolvion and DRN have emerged to fill that gap by creating their own lists. Their business works by driving around camera cars that indiscriminately photograph every license plate they can, including those in private parking lots, and then assigning GPS coordinates to them to build out a database. What this does is let repo men access this database for a fee so that they can
so that's how they skip tracing your shit now. Cause somebody I know like, damn, how they find? I'm like, shit, I don't know. They probably skip traced it, but shit, this how they doing it. They got cars, gig worker guys that drive around with cameras, and they just drive around going from place to place, and then the cameras is doing the work, and they paying them by the mile. I didn't know that.
get a list of known locations for a specific registration number. Now, not to go too much down this specific rabbit hole, but some of these companies now work off a gig economy model, because of course they do. They onboard affiliate drivers who attach their camera packs to their own cars and then pay them a commission for every repossession that comes from the data they collect. For a lot of people, this is either an alternative or a supplemental revenue source to driving for Uber that happens a lot more passively in the background. Now, this kind of involuntary database.
So basically, if you drive for Uber, you could double up by putting one of them cameras in your car, and as you just driving for Uber, the camera is scanning license plates, and if it happens to scan a plate that's up for repo, and one of the towing recovery people log into the database and they recover the car, you'll get a commission. See? Learn something new every day.
Would be bad enough by itself, but you might think, unless you've been skipping your car payments, you don't really have anything to worry about, right? Well, a report by Wired found that these cameras were also collecting and cross-referencing information like politically affiliating lawn signs, bumper stickers, and t-shirts. This let them highlight areas and even individuals with stronger support for certain ideas than others. Now, the companies have claimed that this is just another way for them to earn revenue. It's information that they are collecting from public spaces, and it's not their fault if they are just better at arranging it into databases that can be sold off to political campaigns or marketing agencies. Anyway, with that tangent out of the way, what is really funding this data collection right now, though, is car repossessions, and business is booming for 3 simple reasons. The first is the hangover from the price boom of 2021. During this time, new and used car prices both hit their highest levels ever. Supply chains were disrupted, and people had a lot of extra spending power thanks to government stimulus, and also because other expenditures like vacations and eating out were.
And the banks was giving people cars that they knew they couldn't afford. They was working the numbers to find a way to put you in something that you couldn't afford. If you went to Chevy and you could only afford a Malibu in normal situations, but you went in there and you wanted a Tahoe LTZ, they got you in the Tahoe LTZ. The thing was, they looked at stimulus money as income, and stimulus money shouldn't have been looked at income. It was stimulus money. But they find a way to do the numbers to put you in the car. They probably extended the life of the loan. So instead of a traditional loan like 60 or 72 months, they probably extended it out 84, 96. It even goes longer now. And retarded people, and I'm sorry if the shoe fits, but if you stretched out a loan that long to put to lower the note to make the numbers work, then that's crazy. You dig what I'm saying? Just get something that you can afford. Stay within your means. The thing was, once that stimulus money ran out, and now we're living in real times now that note that you could afford at that time, you no longer can afford it now with the higher cost of living. All right? You couldn't afford it then. You really can't afford it now. And this is why a lot of cars are up for repossession.
Canceled. Interest rates were also very low, which all made it easy to get a big loan and pay $30,000 over sticker price for a used Toyota.
And then that's another thing. All the cars were just more than what they were worth. They were overvalued because of, supply and demand. So like he said, some people were paying $30,000 over sticker price. I remember, man, I knew somebody was looking for a G-Wagon at that time, and they went like $278 for it. Some crazy shit, bro. A G-Wagon, like $160, bro, $170. You know what I'm saying? But motherfucker was willing to pay $260, $270, like $100,000 over sticker. Shit was crazy, bro.
Tacoma. Today, record loan sizes have mixed with record rates of depreciation to give some all too predictable results. According to Edmunds, the average amount of negative equity in cars and trucks climbed to an all-time high last quarter. Now, so far, the one saving grace has been that prices are still higher than they were before 2020. But that has all resulted in fewer people trading in their cars because they are being forced to hold on to it longer. Now, on a personal finance level, this can actually be a good thing. You don't need to buy a new car every 3 years. But let's be honest with each other here. People aren't holding onto their cars because they have suddenly become more conscious consumers. They are holding on to them because they can't get out of them. This is even more apparent on EVs that were attracting huge premiums 4 years ago, but are now nowhere near as popular as people are seeing problems with long-term battery performance and opting to purchase plug-in hybrids instead.
Told you. I was blessed. You know what I'm saying? I was blessed. But to a person who can't go into a place and buy a car, you know what I'm saying? They got to pay a note, and then they driving a lot. Let's say somebody that went and bought a Tesla, like a Model Y in 2022, and they took out like a 60, a 60 month or a 72-month loan, obviously they still paying on that. The problem is if they do a lot of driving, that battery is just draining. And what I mean by that is you'll buy the Tesla new and the full charger gets you, let's say, 315 miles. The more you charge it, that battery life just goes away. So now, a year later, a full charge may get you 296 miles. And then another year, you 272 miles or whatever. So the more you charge it, it's just like an iPhone or anything else. The battery life just drains and drains and drains. The thing is, those batteries are really, really expensive. And you got people now that are still in their loans because a lot of people went out and bought those cars in 2021 and 2022 that are still in those loans that may be putting 20,000 miles a year on them. And they had about 180 to 100,000 miles and they having issues. They still in the loan. And, that's the thing with those electric cars, man.
A lot of people, it's not worth it to make budgetary sacrifices for a car that they are underwater on. So they are just ignoring the problem and accepting that one day their car will be repossessed. Now the good news is that we are just in the find out stage of a very unusual pricing shock in the car market. If that was all there was to it then, as the loans were taken out more than 5 years ago start to end, things should start getting better, right? Well, it's time to learn how money works to find out what else is behind the car repossession boom. This video is sponsored by Cape, the privacy-first mobile carrier rethinking how phone prices shouldn't represent a crisis bite. And use code HowMoneyWorks33 for 33% off your first 6 months. Okay, sinking car prices shouldn't represent a crisis by itself. Outside of a very small handful of exceptions, it is the expectation that cars depreciate rapidly over time. Like most consumer durables, the retailer, in this case the dealers, have their own markups, which is why a new car normally loses so much value the moment it's driven off a lot. The funny business that happened around COVID was very much the exception to this rule. What really allowed a small little price spike to turn into an economy-wide problem is the increasingly complex ways that we are financing car purchases. In the past, it was pretty straightforward. You would pay for a car in cash, or you would make a down payment and pay back the rest over a set term. This was almost always 5 years. Today, the variety of car financing options has grown significantly, and almost all of them are designed to let people get into a slightly more expensive car than they otherwise would have been able to afford. According to Experian, over
Told you. That's a lot of people today, man. They letting people get into cars that in normal situations of the years past would have not been able to get in these cars. They wouldn't have. And that's what a lot of people are getting into trouble at. So
80% of new vehicle sales are financed, but because the industry is so fragmented and underregulated, some third-party estimates put that number as high as 85%. Outdated ideas like having money to use as a down payment have also become a thing of the past over the last 2 decades. This has slowly been replaced by people using the equity they have built up in their previous car to use as the down payment on their next car, re-extending the loan term and principal. Sometimes even that is too much. The rate of trade-ins where the previous car has more owing on it than it's worth has hit its highest level ever.
So what they're saying is people are trading in cars that they upside down on. I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why you would trade in a car that you upside down on. Like pay the car off. I just think nowadays people are just not satisfied. Like I've never, and I don't buy cars the way that I used to buy cars before I became a good businessman, and I was taught by the good guys at the dealerships that I dealt with. But prior to becoming a businessman, even with my Avalanche back in the day, I paid that off. You know what I'm saying? I had a Chevy Lumina back in the 90s. I remember buying that, for $6,000. It was a couple years old. Cars didn't really cost that much. It was a lot. I guess it was money then, but in today's times, like a Chevy Lumina, brand new. I had a Chevy Lumina Eurosport 3.4 4-door. I paid $69.95 for it. It was only a couple years old. I paid it off. Like I've never not paid a car off. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, people just want to get into something new often. So like every 3 years, they taking the car back upside down and getting into something new. And then the balance that they owe on that loan is getting tacked on to the new car that they getting in. So now they paying more for the car. It's fucking stupid. I just don't understand why people just can't be satisfied with what they got and just pay that shit off. But
With 1 in 4 cars being traded underwater, dealer financing is still put
underwater means they upside down, which means they owe more on the car, right? So if they owe more on the car than what the trade-in value. So let's say you got a car and you take it to get a new car and trade it in, and let's say the dealer said, "All right, we'll buy the car from you, but we only gonna give you 10,000. It's only worth 10,000. We'll give you 10 for it, but you owe 20 for it." So now they're gonna add that other 10 onto the new loan. So if you get a $50,000 car, they're gonna add that 10 on top of it. So you financing 60,000. So you're not skipping out on it.
The rate of trade-ins where the previous car has more owing on it than it's worth has hit its highest level ever, with 1 in 4 cars being traded underwater. Dealer financing is still pushing through these sales though, even if they have to get creative with car values, because of the biggest broken incentive of all. Dealerships aren't really in the business of selling cars. They are in the business of writing loans. The cars are just something that get borrowers in the door. Now, while this fact alone might not be that surprising to you anymore, it has encouraged continuously pushing the bounds of what is normal in car loans. The financing manager at a dealership obviously has commission incentives of their own, but they are also colleagues with the sales staff who will depend on them to get a deal done. If they want everybody to get paid and avoid awkward silences in the break room, there is a real incentive to write a loan by any means necessary. This actual peer pressure is at least part of the reason why delinquencies on dealer loans are more than double that of loans from other sources.
The finance manager controls, at the dealership, they control the whole show. I learned that from the finance manager that I deal with, my buddy Mark, here at a dealership that I deal with. Here, the finance manager controls it. I witnessed that with my own eyes. You know what I'm saying? One of the cars that I leased, what was it at? I forget what the interest rate was, but initially when I said, okay, I'm gonna do the deal, when I came to pick it up, he lowered it like another point. And I'm like, I thought it was this. And he was like, I just lowered it another point for you. I'm like, the bank just called you? He said, no, we do it. The bank does what we tell it to do. Whatever we want the bank to do, the bank will do it. Then he broke it down to me like, without the dealerships, the banks don't get loans. We the first point of contact. So if you come in and you're a good customer and you buy or you lease from us a lot and we send it into the bank and the bank comes back with, let's say, 7 points, I'll just go back and say, no, he wants to be at 4 points, right? And the bank will be like, all right, do this for this guy. And then I'll send the next 10 people that come in. I'll make sure we send you those deals first, because the dealership has an option of whoever. They can call whoever. They can call Chase. They can call Ally. They can call Wells Fargo. They can call GMAC Financial. They could call, if it's BMW, you can call BMW, North America, Mercedes-Benz. There's so many different finance companies, and everybody wants them to run the deals through them first, right? So the banks will do whatever the finance manager tells them to do at the dealership. If you're a customer and they know you and they're used to working with you, you got a rapport with them, you could do the deal. Like whenever I go get something now, I don't go to dealerships. I look on the website. I call my sales guy. I say, look, I'm looking at stock number, whatever the stock number is. And I tell him, yo, I need to be at this. I need to be at 2%. I got good credit. Yo, I need to be at 2%. I need to be at 2%. And I'm not coming down there unless you get me at 2%. I remember I did my deal with my last truck I bought like that. And, he called me and said, Mark, I got you at 5% or whatever it was. It was like 5 or 6%. I said, man, I told you 2%. I'll call you back. Boom. He called me back again. He said, Mark, I got you at 4%. I said, man, no, I told you I need to be at 2%. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming down there unless you give me a 2%. He called me like towards the end of the day. And I mean, I got a report. I bought a lot of cars from him. So he called me the last call. It was like maybe like 6 o'clock at night, maybe 7. And he was like, Mark, I got you at 2.99%. Come get this fucking truck. That's exactly what he said. I said, all right, I'm on my way. So you just gotta know how to buy cars, man. Like, ain't no motherfucking way in the world I'm buying a car at these high ass interest rates, bro. If they can't get me to where I want to get to, I'm not coming down there. Period. I got self-control. I know how to buy cars. I'm not finna put myself in a situation. I know what my credit will get me. I know what my report gives me. I know I got buying power. Even on the leasing side, yo, I need 4%, bro. 5%, whatever, depending on the car is. Listen, you only giving me 800 miles a year. I need 12,000 miles a year. I need 1,000 miles a month. I need 1,000 miles a month. I need this APR, and I don't want my note to be over this. So I'm setting the standard of what I want to pay. And either they gonna work that number or they not. If they can't get me to where I want to get to, I'm not coming down there to pick the motherfucker up. I'm not leasing nothing. I need 12,000 miles. I need this APR, and this is where I know I need the lease to be. I need 36-month lease on this shit. Make it happen. That's how you buy cars, or that's how you lease cars. I'm not letting no motherfucking person at the dealership dictate shit to me. That's how a rookie buys cars. When you got good credit, you got a rapport, you got buying power, you got leasing power, you know how it works. This is how you buy and lease cars. And that's it. So,
according to data from the Consumer Credit Panel of the New York Fed. Now, if lowering lending standards and down payments wasn't enough, the biggest lever that the industry has been pulling is extending loan terms. 5-year loans have gone from being the industry standard to now being less common than 7-year loans, according to market data compiled by Bloomberg. A growing number of lenders are now offering terms of 144 months for loans up to...
Ain't no motherfucking way, bro. 144 months? Bro, I would never pay a 144-month loan on a car. That shit is crazy. Did this motherfucker... Hold on, bro.
Industry standard to now being less common than 7-year loans, according to market data compiled by Bloomberg. A growing number of lenders are now offering terms of 144 months for loans up to 120% of the car's value.
I don't give a fuck about a
Oh, whoa, shit, wrong button. Bro, anybody that finance a car for 144 months, man, you use a tweaker. You need to go to a buy here, pay here, bro. You need to go get you a if it's that bad, if you that bad, go get you a buy here, pay here, or you need to go talk to a financial advisor, bro. If you gonna put yourself in that situation that bad, I mean, you ain't got no discipline. You definitely can't afford the car. Anybody that has to stretch the loan out 144 months, that's telling you something. That's telling you really can't afford that car, pimp. You trying to do it for the gram. You trying to do it for the gram, and you gonna do it for the gram for a little short moment, and then we gonna be asking you on the gram, man, what happened to the Hellcat? We don't see you posting up with the Hellcat no more. What happened to it? Because they're gonna come get that bitch because you can't afford it anyway. I'm not respecting anybody that's going past 70. We gonna give you 72 months. We gonna give you 72 months. We gonna give you 6 years. After anything past 6 years, man, you might want to reconsider the type of car you get, man. I'm just being honest, man. I'm just being honest, man. If you going past 72 months, if you going past 6 years, you might want to reconsider the type of car you get. I'm just being honest, bro.
In plain English, what this means you could do is trade in a car that you are $10,000 underwater on, put no cash down, and take out a $60,000 loan to buy another $50,000 car, which you will be paying off over the next 12 years. Now, the interest rates and fees on these loans are usually nothing short of catastrophic. But spreading the loan out over that long does minimize monthly repayments. And since most of these borrowers are going to trade in their car again before paying down the loan, that's all they really care about. As people are increasingly taking out 6, 7, or even 12-year loans on cars that they are on average replacing every 3.5 years.
So they've taken out a 12-year loan to lower they monthly payment, and then in 3 to 4 years, they're trading the car in upside down 8 years. They ain't even probably paid the goddamn interest off. This shit crazy, man. This is... Oh my God, bro. What is wrong with people nowadays, bro? This shit is crazy.
They are making very little progress on the principle of these loans and
told you. You took out a 12-year loan. About a quarter to half of the loan term is goddamn interest. You still owe for the whole damn car. So now you tacking a big ass portion because you upside down, you underwater, you tacking that on to whatever the new car. Man, you ain't gonna never pay no car off. This shit crazy.
Therefore, extending the period in which they could suffer serious financial difficulties. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, while they still exist, highlighted this as one of the most damaging financial practices in the economy today and highlighted it as one of the leading causes of loan delinquencies. So lenders shouldn't exactly be shocked Pikachu that their repossession rates are skyrocketing, but they are going to keep going on, not just because it makes them money, but because it makes money in the right kind of way. As terms have gotten longer, loan sizes have also increased, which has also allowed us to buy more expensive cars. I mean, who knew extending loan terms and equity requirements would just drive up prices on underlying assets? But anyway, the bigger issue is that these loans have become a valuable asset class of their own. When a dealer writes a car loan, they are usually using a third-party credit provider to actually pay out the money. As part of that deal, those providers will pay the dealer a commission for the business they are bringing them, and the longer the loan term, the bigger that commission is. Most of these loans then get securitized and sold off to other investors, so that neither the lender or the dealer needed to use any cash of their own. Now, the paperwork involved in doing all of this costs a bit of money, but that is a fixed cost. It takes just as many man-hours to put together a 3-year loan as it does a 12-year loan, but the lifetime interest on the latter is almost 6 times higher, making it far more profitable for these middlemen. Now, if you think that's bad...
So basically saying the more desperate and stupid you are, the more money they make. I'm just summing it up for you. The more desperate and stupid you are, the more money they make. So they profit off your ignorance, just like in any other business. You go sign a 12-year loan, a goddamn car, they prefer you do that dumb shit than the 3-year loan because they going to make more money off the commission on a 12-year loan than a 3-year loan.
Don't worry, it gets worse. Turning people's transportation into a recurring revenue stream still has challenges because of silly little things like regulations and lending standards. They might be on the floor, but they are still there. Fortunately, a new model of car subscriptions is becoming increasingly popular. So yeah, can't see that going badly. The final change pushing the repossession boom is that all of this is starting to catch up with higher income earners as well. When we think of people getting their cars repossessed, we naturally think of people with bad credit, unstable employment, and poor financial literacy. Now, subprime customers like this do still make up a majority of loan delinquencies and subsequent repossessions, but that is more or less a constant. Amongst this group of borrowers, there was a brief improvement in their loans around 2020 thanks to stimulus, lowered interest rates, and deferments on other debt. Today, however, the delinquency rates on their borrowing is more or less back to where it was before the pandemic. It's not good, but it's predictably not good. The assumption that a lot of these loans will not be repaid in a timely manner is why subprime auto loans have much higher interest rates. The real difference right now is an increase in delinquencies coming from people with average or even above average credit. Late payments amongst these groups have roughly doubled since before the pandemic, and even though the rate of their delinquencies is lower, they are a much larger group overall, so the total volume of bad debt is really starting to creep up. We have mentioned it in almost every video this year, but the top 10% of households now account for over 50% of all consumption spending. Now, this statistic normally highlights the growing K-shaped economy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in the top 10% is thriving either. A report by Goldman Sachs found that 40% of studied households earning more than $500,000 a year were living paycheck to paycheck. The top highlighted reasons were lifestyle inflation, living in expensive cities, and cars.
Person making $500,000 a year, the reason why they live paycheck to Tay, one of the main reasons because they house poor. You know, a lot of people, especially like when you see like a lot of these surgeons that make a lot of money, like surgeons, uh, doctors, surgeons, lawyers that are like partners and things like that that make that type of money. They go out and buy these big ass houses, man. They become house poor, bro. And because they're in certain social circles, like they have to look the part, be the part. You know what I'm saying? So they go out and they buy a big stupid ass house, and then they have to buy a car to match the house. So although they make a lot of money, they're paying a lot in expenses as far as cost of living, as far as their mortgage, their car note, their wife's car note, so on and so forth.
Ironically, the households earning only $200,000 to $300,000 a year were doing considerably better because they were less likely to be surrounded by people who think $500,000 weekend cars and vacation homes are a reasonable expense. Now, we are actually going to make an entire video about how the 1% is bankrupting themselves later this month, so make sure to subscribe if you're interested in that. Of course, there is more to it than just cars, but generally all of the financial shenanigans that have evolved over the last decade have been directed towards people with higher incomes. They are generally trusted with far more dangerous financial tools, and if they lose their high-paying jobs, which a lot of people are at the moment, they are every bit as likely to end up in the same financial trouble. Now, all of this is just one side of the story. The problems in the car industry are even more apparent on the manufacturer side. So go and watch this video next to find out how and why these companies...
So that's the first video I wanted to watch. And it gave a lot of good information as it pertains to why a lot of Americans are in this situation. A lot of it is just, like I said, it's due to ignorance. And it's due to living above and beyond your means. And, I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going to happen to this country. I don't know what's going to happen to people, but, it's sad, bro. It's sad. It really is sad. So now this next video is, it's still on the same topic, but it talks about the car payment trap. So I want to watch this video and kind of do a reaction to this video as we're talking and reacting to repossessions being at an all-time high right now.
Have you ever been driving down the highway and suddenly found yourself behind a brand new truck that costs more than most people's houses? You know the one I'm talking about. The gleaming monster with chrome everything, leather seats that probably cost more than your monthly rent, and a payment that would make your mortgage broker weep. And here's the thing that really gets me. The person driving it probably makes less money than you do. So what's going on here? How are regular people somehow affording these astronomical car payments that seem to defy basic mathematics? My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and why people make the financial decisions they do. If you've ever wondered how your neighbor can afford that $70,000 pickup truck while complaining about grocery prices, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps explain this modern mystery. Now, before we dive into the mechanics of how people are pulling this off, let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with here. The average new car payment in America has crossed into territory that would have been considered absolutely insane just a decade ago. We're talking about monthly payments that exceed what many people pay for rent, and yet somehow millions of Americans are signing on the dotted line every single month, driving off the lot in vehicles that cost more than the median household income. But here's where it gets really interesting. Most of these people aren't secretly millionaires hiding their wealth. They're not crypto billionaires or trust fund babies. They're teachers, nurses, mechanics, retail workers, and office employees. Regular folks with regular jobs who somehow found a way to make the numbers work. Or at least they think they did. The truth is, there's a whole system designed to make these impossible payments seem possible. And understanding how this system works isn't just about satisfying curiosity, It's about protecting yourself from making a financial decision that could derail your future for the next 7 to 10 years. Let's start with the most obvious question. How much are we actually talking about here? Because when I tell people the average car payment numbers, they usually assume I'm making them up. The average new car payment has climbed to over $700 per month.
Yep, and a lot of people can't afford a $700 a month note. That's a lot to an average household. $700 car payment is a lot, but that's becoming the new norm. Like I talked about at the beginning, the average person that was going out, the average note was about $300-$400 a month. So a lot of people are having to get accustomed to this $700 plus, and they having a hard time adjusting. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Yo, them BMs, them baby mamas with them Altimas, them days is over with, baby girl. Them $300 notes, them $200 notes. See, you used to mess with a chick back in the day, and she get a little behind on her note. Hey, what's your note, baby girl? Like $300. You can go ahead and you dig what I'm saying? But now, these chicks is getting these $600, $700, $800 notes, and they thinking they gonna be able to afford it. They might try to justify it with doing a little Uber Eats and shit on the sit down. You dig what I'm saying? But then they realize that shit is time consuming. They don't like doing it. It's dangerous, and then they get behind. And then little boo bae who they busting it down for a real one with from time to time. He ain't got that little $200-$300. See, back in the day, that little $200-$300 wasn't really nothing. That was kind of equivalent to like leaving that 40 on the nightstand, man. But the boo bae, he's struggling too. He ain't got $700-$800 to hit you. So it's done got tough for these chicks out here in these streets.
$700. That's not for a luxury vehicle or some exotic sports car. That's the average payment for a regular new car purchased by a regular person. But it gets worse when you start looking at trucks and SUVs, which have become the default choice for most American buyers.
And I don't understand that, bro. I always keep a pickup truck in whatever cars I got. I always got to have a pickup truck. But a lot of people get pickup trucks and they don't have a reason to have a pickup truck, bro. A pickup truck ain't a cheap vehicle, bro. Pickup truck nowadays, a new pickup truck run you north of 100 G's. I don't understand why people get pickup trucks and they don't need pickup trucks. Like when I go to Texas, like just everybody got a pickup truck down in Texas, and then they get this fucking badge that says Texas edition on it. Like, bro, it don't even snow down there. Fuck, you need a pickup truck for? Why y'all need pickup trucks? Why do y'all need pickup trucks in Texas? I don't understand that. I never understood that. Why do you need a pickup truck in Texas? And why every pickup truck down there got this fucking emblem on it that says Texas edition? Is that like an emblem that you buy in the store? Because I see it on Chevys, I see it on Fords, I see it on Rams. I'm like, damn, every manufacturer got a Texas edition? Or is this like a little decal that y'all buy at AutoZone and y'all just stick it on there? Y'all don't understand. Then y'all get y'all lift kit. Like, it don't even snow down there. But this is the point that I'm trying to make. Like, people buying shit that's not practical. Why are you buying something that's not practical when you can't afford it? Make it make sense.
These payments routinely exceed $900 per month, and it's not uncommon to see payments over $1,200. $1,200 every single month for 6, 7, or even 8 years. We're talking about payments that total more than $80,000 over the life of the loan. And that's before you factor in insurance, maintenance, and fuel costs. Now, you might be thinking, well, Nick, maybe people are just making a lot more money these days. Maybe wages have gone up enough to support these kinds of payments. And if that's what you're thinking,
nope.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's not what's happening at all. The median household income has increased, sure, but nowhere near enough to justify these payment amounts using traditional financial wisdom. So how are people doing it? The answer lies in a combination of factors that have fundamentally changed how Americans approach car buying. And none of these factors are necessarily good news for the people signing these loan documents. First, let's talk about loan terms. Remember when a car loan was 3 years, maybe 4 if you really stretched it? Those days are as dead as the...
I remember 4-year car loans. That was the norm back in the day. I remember my mom. I remember she bought a Toyota Camry in '96, 4-year loan. She bought like a Chevy Nova in like '87. The 4-year loan. That was the norm back then. Back then, you get a brand new car, like 10 grand. You know what I'm saying, or less. You know what I'm saying. So the average car loan back then was 3-4 years.
Flip phone. Today's car loans routinely stretch 6, 7, or 8 years into the future. Some lenders are even offering 10-year car loans, which honestly sounds like something from a financial horror movie. The appeal is obvious. If you spread that $60,000 truck payment over 8 years instead of 4, the monthly payment drops significantly. Suddenly, that truck that would have required a $1,500 monthly payment over 4 years becomes manageable at $900 over 8 years. The monthly number looks reasonable.
$900 for 8 years. That shit's crazy. And that's why a lot of people is getting into these financial situations. Listen, don't walk into Mercedes with C-class money trying to get an S and then justify it by stretching a loan out for 144 months and you still paying over $1,000. Don't do it. Don't put yourself in that pickle. Don't put yourself in that pickle. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't walk into goddamn Dodge and, you know, the Hellcat, they might have a few 2023s sitting on the lot that's still brand new, 93,000. And try to justify getting a Hellcat by stretching it out 12 years, 144 months. When you know the only thing you can afford is the base model, that V6, that SXT, or that GT. You really can't afford that. But now you want to justify it because you want to hear that roar, and you say, well, man, damn, 93. How much if you stretch it out 144 months? And then they tell you some goofy shit like 1,200 or 1,100, and you think that's manageable. To most people, that's not manageable. But you see the drop from 1,800, let's say, down to 1,100, and you think you did something. The average person think they did something, and they sign on the dollar line. The dealership don't give a fuck. They're going to get their money from the bank. The bank bought the car. The dealership getting their money. The bank is financing the loan. Most cases, and I'm speaking because I asked the finance guys. I got a relationship with my finance guys because I deal with the same dealerships. But we got a finance guy in the Discord who's in box truck and who comes from this, and he's actually going back. He's getting kind of out of the box truck, you know, going back to, you know, working in a dealership as finance. And they all say the same thing. When they sitting there doing these deals with people, they know the people that can't afford the loan. They know the people that's going to get repossessed. But they don't really care. You know, it's not their job to teach you how to buy a car. It's not their job to educate you on the correct way to buy a car. It's not their job to say, yo, you really can't afford this car. It's their job to sell you a car. The finance guy, all he does is work with numbers. He knows you can't afford this car. He knows that the likelihood of this car getting repossessed is high. They can even tell you in the term, yo, this car is going to get repossessed in the next 18 months. If you can't afford it, don't get it. Don't try to justify being able to afford it by stretching out the term. I think 6 years should be the cutoff. I'm just being honest with you. 72 months. I think if you go beyond 72 months to make a car affordable, you need to rethink the type of car that you're getting. This is my honest opinion based on understanding how to buy cars and numbers.
Which is exactly what the buyer focuses on. But here's what most people don't think about when they're sitting in that dealership. By extending the loan term, they're not just lowering the monthly payment, they're dramatically increasing the total amount they'll pay for the vehicle.
Yep. And this is why I say you shouldn't do it. If you have to stretch a loan out that much, you can't afford that car. 6 years is the cutoff. That's it. 6 years. If you got to go past 6 years, you need to really consider the type of car you're buying.
That $900 payment over 8 years adds up to over $86,000 compared to about $72,000 if they had taken the 4-year loan. That's an extra $14,000 just for the privilege of having a lower monthly payment. Even worse, they'll be making payments on that truck long after it's worth a fraction of what they paid for it. Cars depreciate rapidly, especially in the first few years. By year 5 or 6 of that 8-year loan, they'll owe significantly more than the vehicle is worth. They'll be trapped in what's called negative equity, unable to sell or trade the vehicle.
That's why I said 5 or 6 years. Take a 60 or 72 month. That's it.
Without writing a check to cover the difference. But extended loan terms are just the beginning of how people are making these payments work. The second major factor is the rise of 0% financing and other promotional interest rates. Walk into any dealership and you'll see signs advertising 0% APR for qualified buyers. Sounds amazing, right? Free money to buy that new truck. Here's the thing about those 0% offers that dealers definitely don't want you to understand. They're not actually free money. The cost of that financing is built into the price of the vehicle. You're either paying full price for the car and getting 0% financing, or you're getting a discount on the car and paying market rate interest. But you're not getting both. More importantly, those 0% offers usually come with strict qualification requirements and shorter loan terms. The people who actually qualify for 0% financing are typically the same people who could afford to pay cash for the vehicle anyway. For everyone else, the interest rates on these extended car loans can be substantial, especially if their credit isn't perfect. Then there's the trade-in game, which has become increasingly important in how people manage these large car payments. Here's how it typically works. Someone buys a new car with a 6 or 7 year loan. After 3 or 4 years, they're tired of the car or want something newer, but they still owe more on the loan than the car is worth. So what do? They roll that negative equity into a new loan for an even more expensive vehicle. This
stupidest shit you could do. That's the dumbest shit you can do. Pay the goddamn car off you already got.
Creates a cycle where people are constantly paying for cars they no longer own while simultaneously taking on debt for new cars. Their loan balances keep growing even though they're making payments every month. It's like a financial hamster wheel where the faster you run, the further behind you get. The dealers...
I suggest that people who want to get a new car every 3 years, and you got to have some discipline, lease, especially to the people that's watching, that's in trucking. And I suggest you have another car on the side, right? Anything that I get that's over $100,000, I lease it under the business, right? It's not something that is driven every day. It's not a daily. It's something to have as a write-off, and it's something to pull out for special occasions, a wedding, a dinner date, a nice ride down Stony Island. Or I got to shit on a motherfucker, right? But to a person who wants to jump in and out of a car every 3 years, I suggest you lease, right? Now, you need to have another car because there's restrictions. There's there's mileage restrictions, obviously, and then the more expensive the car is, the lower the miles they give you. The types of cars that I lease, they only give you initially like 8,000 miles a year, and then you have to pay for additional miles. If you want additional miles, they're going to charge you when you take on a lease, and they're gonna put that onto, you know, your lease payment. And then obviously if you go over the miles when it's time to turn the car in, then depending on the type of car, they're gonna charge you per mile. More economical cars, you'll get more miles initially up front. So you have to, you know, keep track of your miles, especially if you're going to lease a car that's going to be your daily. But I recommend still having something on the side, like a beater or some type of daily car that, you know, you know, you don't put yourself into a situation where you're going over your miles. I think leasing, especially when you have a business, a car that's under the business, I think it's a good idea for a write-off, right? Especially if you need a car, and even if your business can afford a nice luxury sedan, if you've hit the level of success and you can afford a nice luxury sedan, do not finance it. Stop listening to these stupid ass rappers, right? Because they be lying to you. They lease cars too, because only a fool would go out and purchase a foreign luxury car. It's the stupidest shit you can do. It's the dumbest shit you can do, right? I can tell you, after 3 years, the motherfucker, first of all, the maintenance on the goddamn cars, right? So, you know, the maintenance on the cars is like, I can talk about $6,000-$7,000 brake jobs, $1,500, $2,000 oil changes. So it's just best to just lease these cars under the business and go on about your business. If you want to lease an economical car, just make sure you still got another car on the side if you want to get in and out of a car every 3 years. It does not make sense to finance a car, stretch out the length of the loan just to be upside down, or just to trade it in 3 years while you upside down and tack on that balance to the new car. It's the stupidest shit people do. I don't know why they do
Love
that.
this arrangement because it creates customers for life. Once someone is trapped in the negative equity cycle, they become a captive audience for new vehicle purchases. They can't afford to break free from the cycle because doing so would require writing a check for thousands of dollars just to get out of their current loan. But perhaps the most concerning trend is how normalized these extreme car payments have become. People who would never dream of spending $1,200 a month on anything else somehow convince themselves that it's reasonable for transportation. Think about it this way. If someone told you they were spending $1,200 a month on coffee, you'd probably stage an intervention. You know, if they said they were dropping that much on clothes every month, you'd assume they had a serious shopping addiction. But somehow when it's a car payment, we just nod and say, well, you need reliable transportation. This normalization didn't happen by accident. It's the result of decades of marketing that has convinced Americans that their vehicle is an extension of their identity. Your truck isn't just transportation. It's a statement about who you are as a person. It shows that you're successful, reliable, hardworking. And if you're not driving something impressive, well, what does that say about you? The automotive industry has become incredibly sophisticated at tapping into these psychological triggers. They don't sell cars anymore. They sell lifestyles, dreams, and social status. That commercial showing the rugged truck climbing mountains isn't selling you transportation. It's selling you the fantasy that you're the kind of person who climbs mountains, even though the closest you get to off-roading is parking on grass at the county fair.
And that's what I'm saying. Why y'all people in Texas got pickup trucks? I still don't understand that, bro. That shit is so impractical for Texas, bro. Y'all got smooth roads. Y'all don't get no snow, but everybody, as soon as I get off the goddamn plane, everybody got a big ass pickup truck. I don't understand that.
This emotional manipulation makes it much easier for people to justify payments that would otherwise seem completely irrational. When you're not just buying a truck, but buying into an identity, suddenly that $900 payment feels like an investment in yourself rather than a financial mistake. But let's get back to the practical mechanics of how people are actually making these payments work in their monthly budgets. Because even with extended terms and emotional justification, $700 to $1,200 is still a lot of money for most households. This is where things get really creative, and by creative, I mean potentially disastrous for long-term financial health. Many people are essentially restructuring their entire financial lives around their car payment. They're treating it like a mortgage payment and adjusting everything else accordingly. I've seen people move to smaller apartments or stay with roommates longer than they planned just so they can afford their dream truck payment. They'll eat ramen noodles for lunch every day while driving to work in a vehicle that costs more than some people's houses. They'll skip vacations, avoid restaurants, and put off other major purchases, all to support a car payment that consumes 25 to 30% of their take-home income. Some people are taking on second jobs specifically to cover their vehicle expenses. They'll drive for rideshare companies or...
But I told you, it's just like old girl I was talking about earlier. She thought she was going to drive for Uber Eats, DoorDash. She did that shit a few times, and that was a wrap.
Deliver food on weekends using their expensive truck to generate the income needed to pay for that same expensive truck.
Just like you see the motherfuckers that be out here doing Uber and big dumbass pickup trucks and like Escalades and Tahoes and shit. Man, there's a dude picked me up in the A8. This dude picked me up in an A8. I already knew what he was doing it for. This is like when I was taking regular Ubers. I just take blacks now, but when I was taking regular Ubers, man, I looked at the thing. It said so-and-so was picking you up. And I said, I'm looking at it. Audi A8. This motherfucker doing Uber in an A8? That dude picked me up in an A8, bro. Tweaking, bro. I know he was doing that shit to help pay that note. It don't make no sense, bro. It don't make no sense.
It's like a bizarre form of automotive indentured servitude where your car becomes both your master and your means of survival. Others are dipping into retirement accounts or taking loans against their 401k to make down payments or cover repair costs. They're borrowing from their future selves to fund their current transportation fantasies. And since most people are terrible at calculating the true cost of early retirement withdrawals, they don't realize they're potentially sacrificing hundreds of thousands in future wealth for a truck that will be worth practically nothing in 10 years. Then there's the credit card shuffle that's become increasingly common. People will put maintenance, repairs, insurance, and fuel costs on credit cards to free up cash for their monthly car payment. They're essentially using high-interest debt to subsidize their transportation costs, which is like using a blowtorch to light a cigarette. Technically it works, but it's probably not the smartest approach. The most concerning trend I've seen is people taking out personal loans or home equity loans to cover down payments or negative equity from previous vehicles. They're leveraging their homes to buy cars, which fundamentally misunderstands the purpose of both assets.
People taking out the equity in their crib, bro, to get a car? Oh my God, bro. That's the stupidest shit you could do. So you're going to take out the equity in your home to get a car that's going to depreciate. Listen to this shit. You're going to take the equity out. You're going to take the equity out your home to buy a car that's going to depreciate the moment you drive it off the lot. Stupid, bro. Just dumb shit, bro.
Your house should be building wealth over time. Your car should be getting you from point A to point B as efficiently as possible. When you start using your house to fund your car addiction, you've got the equation backwards. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Many of the people making these extreme sacrifices for their car payments aren't just doing it for one vehicle, they're doing it for multiple vehicles. The average American household now owns more cars than licensed drivers, which is mathematically impressive and financially terrifying.
Hey, man.
It's not uncommon to find families with 2 or 3 car payments running simultaneously. Dad has his work truck, mom has her...
I'm guilty, bro. I'm guilty. I could afford it though.
SUV for the kids, and maybe there's a third vehicle for the teenager or for weekend adventures. Suddenly, we're talking about combined car payments that exceed what most people pay for housing. These families have essentially created their own personal auto financing companies, except instead of making money, they're hemorrhaging it every month. They're managing multiple depreciation schedules, insurance policies, maintenance schedules, and loan terms. It's like running a small business, except the business loses money every day and the inventory becomes worthless over time. The psychological effect of managing multiple car payments is fascinating and disturbing. People become experts at juggling due dates and minimum payments, but they lose sight of the bigger picture. They'll celebrate paying off one car loan while simultaneously taking on two new ones. They measure success by their ability to keep all the plates spinning rather than questioning whether they need to be spinning plates at all. And then there's the insurance component that most people completely underestimate when calculating affordability. Insuring a $60,000 truck costs significantly more than insuring a $20,000 sedan. Add in comprehensive coverage, collision coverage, gap insurance, and all the other protections recommended for expensive vehicles, and you're looking at insurance premiums that can easily exceed $200 per month. For families with multiple expensive vehicles, insurance costs can approach or exceed $500 monthly. That's $6,000 per year just for the privilege of legally driving their depreciating assets on public roads. Many people focus so intensely on negotiating the monthly payment that they completely forget to factor in the ongoing insurance costs until they're sitting in the insurance agent's office getting a reality check. The maintenance costs present another surprise that catches many people off guard. Modern vehicles, especially trucks and SUVs, are incredibly complex machines with advanced technology, sophisticated emission systems, and premium components. When something breaks, and it will break, the repair bills can be staggering. A simple brake job on a modern truck can easily cost $800 to $1,200. Transmission problems can run $5,000 or more. And if you're unlucky enough to need major engine work, you might be looking at repair bills that exceed $10,000. Many people making extreme car payments have zero emergency funds set aside for these inevitable repairs, which means they'll likely end up putting major maintenance on credit cards or taking out additional loans. This creates a vicious cycle where the car payment that was supposed to be manageable becomes the catalyst for a debt spiral that can take years to escape. You'll see people with pristine $70,000 trucks sitting in their driveways while they frantically search their couch cushions for gas money. It's like having a Rolex watch while living on ramen noodles. Technically impressive, but missing the point entirely. The fuel costs alone for these massive vehicles can approach what people used to pay for entire car payments just a decade ago. When you're driving a truck that gets 15 miles per gallon in real-world conditions and gas prices fluctuate between $3 and $5 per gallon, you're looking at fuel costs that can easily exceed $400 per month for someone with a normal commute. Add in the occasional road trip or weekend adventure, and that number climbs even higher. But here's where the math gets really interesting, and by interesting, I mean absolutely terrifying from a financial planning perspective. Let's take a typical scenario and run the real numbers that most people never bother to calculate. Imagine someone buys a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan at 6% interest. Their monthly payment works out.
Why would they get a 7-year loan if the interest rate is only 6%? 6% is good, especially in today's economy. Why would they stretch it out 7 years?
People never bother to calculate. Imagine someone buys a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan at 6% interest. Their monthly payment works out to about $800, which feels manageable compared to the $1,200 payment they would have faced with a shorter loan term. Over the life of that loan, they'll pay approximately $67,000 total. Add in insurance at $250 per month, and that's another $21,000 over 7 years. Factor in fuel costs of $350 monthly, and we're talking about another $29,000. Maintenance and repairs over 7 years will easily run another $15,000, probably more. When you add it all up, this person will spend over $130,000 on transportation over 7 years. And at the end of those 7 years, they'll own a vehicle that's worth maybe $15,000.
His numbers are off.
This person will spend at $250 per month, and that's another $21,000 over 7 years. Factor in fuel costs of $350 month.
That's high for fuel. Average pickup truck right now, you spend it to fill it up about $60, $70. So if a person is driving, let's say, a pickup truck to work, and they can get back and forth to work on one tank of gas, depending on how far their commute is, they're looking at around $250 to $300. Then he's spot on as far as the insurance for a pickup truck that costs about $250 a month, give or take.
And we're talking about another $29,000. Maintenance and repairs over 7 years will easily run another $15,000.
I don't know. I don't know if that I can't say that's true. A lot of pickup trucks, like if you get in a good American-made pickup truck, if you get an F-150, if you get a Chevy Silverado, I'm not a fan of the Ram, but if you get a good F-150, it don't matter which edition. You can get an F-150 Platinum. You can get an F-150 Limited. You could get a Chevy Silverado, like a LT, LT2, LT3, or LTZ, or a High Country. I haven't had any problems with mine. I haven't had no problems. I haven't had no issues. Now, mind you, my car's a garage kept, heated garage kept, but, you know, a pickup truck, an American-made pickup truck, honestly, you shouldn't have any maintenance problems. If you go and you do your oil changes when this vehicle nowadays gonna tell you when to do oil changes, get down to 20%. It's gonna tell you to schedule an oil change. You do your oil changes. You drive the truck like you got some sense. You keep your good tires on there and shit like that, and you'll be fine. I don't know. I don't agree with this part.
Probably more. When you add it all up, this person will spend over $130,000 on transportation over 7 years. And at the end of those 7 years, they'll own a vehicle that's worth maybe $15,000 if they're lucky. They've essentially paid $130,000 for the privilege of driving a $15,000 truck. That's not transportation financing, that's wealth destruction with cup holders and heated seats. The most depressing part of this equation is what that same money could have accomplished if invested instead. If someone took that $800 monthly payment and invested it in a simple index fund earning 8% annually, they'd have over $70,000 after 7 years. Not only would they have avoided the financial burden of the truck, they would have actually built wealth instead of destroying it. But here's the psychological trap that makes this cycle so hard to break. Once someone commits to these extreme car payments, they develop what I call automotive Stockholm syndrome. They become emotionally attached to their financial captor. The truck isn't just transportation anymore. It's a reflection of their identity, their hard work, their success. The idea of driving something cheaper feels like admitting failure or accepting a lower social status. This emotional attachment makes rational financial analysis nearly impossible. When someone suggests they could save hundreds of dollars monthly by driving a reliable used vehicle, they don't hear a practical financial strategy. They hear an attack on their self-worth and their right to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They'll defend their truck payment with the same passion they'd defend their family. even though that truck payment might be preventing them from actually providing for their family's future. The automotive industry understands this psychology better than most people understand themselves. They've spent billions of dollars researching exactly how to trigger these emotional responses and convert them into loan signatures. Walk into any dealership and you'll notice they don't spend much time talking about total cost of ownership or opportunity cost of capital. Instead, they focus on monthly payments, immediate gratification, and social status. The sales process has been refined to overcome every rational objection a buyer might have. Worried about the payment being too high? Let's extend the term. Concerned about reliability? Here's an extended warranty you can finance. Nervous about depreciation? Don't worry about it. You'll probably want to trade it in for something newer in a few years anyway. So there you have it. The mystery of how people are affording these insane car payments isn't really a mystery at all. It's a carefully orchestrated system of extended loan terms, emotional manipulation, and financial gymnastics that would make a circus performer jealous. People aren't actually affording these payments in any meaningful sense. They're just kicking the financial can down the road while convincing themselves they deserve that shiny truck. The next time you see someone driving a vehicle that costs more than your house, remember, they're probably eating cereal for dinner to afford it, and maybe, just maybe, that reliable used car in your driveway isn't looking so bad after all. Have you ever been driving
I want to watch one more.
down the highway and suddenly found yourself...
Came out today. Actually, let's see if I can find it. Here it is.
So today I'm at CarMax. Today I'm at CarMax. It's been so bad here at CarMax that over the last 6 months, the value of their company has been cut in half. So check this out. They've got inventory absolutely stacked up everywhere, even in the middle of the aisles here. So I always think it's comical to see this here at CarMax. This is a Wagoneer, and I just want you to show you what's going on here. 2024 Jeep Wagoneer L Series. And the price on this thing is $56,000. The thing that I want to point out is it's not just CarMax and their stock price that's crashing. It's also the values of some of these way overpriced vehicles, and that's a good...
That shit, like the Wagoneer, man. That shit ain't worth it, bro. But they want like $1 for that shit, bro. Hell no, bro. That shit ain't worth it, bro. That's why you don't see too many of them on the street. You gonna spend $1 on a Wagoneer, you might as well just go ahead and put a little bit extra and just go ahead and get you a Lade. That shit is whack, bro. And then this one is used and they still want $56 for it. No, sir.
Example, that customer bought that thing brand new a little over a year ago, and they paid probably somewhere around the neighborhood of $100,000 for it.
Nah, it's not worth it. Might as well put you an extra fit in. If you got 110, just go ahead and put an extra fit in and go ahead and get you a Lade and call it a day, bro. This shit ain't worth no 110. It ain't
now
worth it.
CarMax is selling it for $55,000. CarMax didn't pay $55,000 for that thing. They probably gave $45,000, maybe a little bit more for it, because they're going to need to make big time margin on something that's going to be that expensive and sit on their lot. So here's the thing, that customer lost about 50% of their purchase price in just 1 year on that Jeep. And we're seeing this time and time and time again, people paying way overpriced for a lot of these vehicles. These manufacturers are trying to get out and make high margins on, customers paying for it, and now that customer that bought that Wagoneer, they are suffering for it. They lost $50,000 in just a little over a year. That's insane.
Repo,
so now, if you've been following me for a while, you know over the last 2 years or so, I've talked about a lot of problems that CarMax has had, and obviously those have come to fruition because we see it just in their stock
having
price.
problems right now, and they stock is going
of the
down
value of
because people just can't afford cars. A lot of cars are still overpriced. A lot of cars, believe it or not, even in this economy, are overpriced because a lot of people that have cars are not trading them in. They can't afford to trade them in because they can't afford new cars. So there's a supply and demand thing going on.
Company in roughly, what, 6 months' time? And we have to ask ourselves, is this a CarMax problem? Is this a car market problem, or is this a consumer problem?
And then
so
they
now let's
can't,
go
the
through.
reason why they got so many cars is they can't, one, people aren't buying cars, but then they can't afford to lower the prices on the cars that they got because they're buying them at a higher price.
All three of those scenarios, because I think it's a lot of all three. So now let's start off with the car market. What's going on in the car market? I can speak to this because I am actively working in the car market. I have a small used car dealership. I go to these auctions every single week. I see what is selling, what's not selling, where prices are going, and what's the biggest thing? What prices are too high. But here's the thing, and here's where it's the problem for the car market, and then obviously CarMax operating in this car market while it's a problem. Well, we have prices that are way too high, but for the used car side, we don't have enough inventory actually coming into the system to allow prices to go lower. It's all supply and demand. Even if demand is lower, I'm selling fewer cars at my car dealership, it's slower, but there are fewer cars showing up at auction. There are fewer trade-ins that are actually happening in the market. And for used car dealers to exist, even a place like CarMax, you have to have people that are getting out of their older used cars, getting into newer cars, either a newer used car from somewhere here like CarMax, or a brand new car from one of these manufacturers like Toyota, Honda. You need that to happen to be able to put supply into the system. And what we know right now is people are holding on to their money and they're not buying as many new cars as what we've experienced in a normal car market. So even though demand is down for a lot of these dealers, it still creates a strain because we don't have enough supply. I'm still fighting with all of the same amount of dealers at these used car dealer auctions for a limited supply of used vehicles. We all, even though we're slower, we still have to have a full lot. We still have to have inventory so people can actually come and buy a car. The few people that are out there that are actually buying cars, we have to have inventory for them. And if there's not enough supply at these used car dealer auctions, it keeps prices stubbornly high. Same thing that CarMax is dealing with right now. They have to pay too much for cars. And then on the other side, they make between $2,400, $2,600 gross per car. They have to mark them up. Prices are just too high. Here's a newer Toyota Tundra. I want to see this thing, see what they're charging for this Tundra. It's a 2022 Toyota Tundra SR. Price.
Hell no. How many miles this thing got on it?
On this thing is $37,000 and
73,000 miles. They want 30.
Tundra.
They want $37,000. It got 73,000 miles. Hell no, bro. Y'all tweaking. No, the cars are definitely still overpriced, bro. Toyota Tundra, bro. That shit is a piece of shit. Listen. Ain't nothing like American muscle when it comes to a pickup truck. Ain't nothing like American muscle when it comes to a pickup truck. Toyota Tundra, I swear to God, man. A guy pulled up next to me maybe about 5-6 years ago. Toyota Tundra. Said he bought it to launch his boat. He said most embarrassing experience he ever had when he first got it. Couldn't yank the boat out the water. Wasn't strong enough. Wasn't strong enough to dig down into the ground because that launch pad, you got a lot of algae on there and shit like that. It just didn't have that power. Even though it's a pickup truck, it just did not have the power. He said, well, I thought because it was a Toyota, and you hear good things about the Toyota Camry and how it just lasts. So I figured I needed a pickup truck. And yeah, a Toyota Camry, as far as the powertrain on that and the life, the life of that car this is a pickup truck. It's a different ball game. It's a different ball game, big dog. If you're not getting you a Rado, a 150, a 250, a 350, or goddamn a Ram, you're gonna continue to go to be at that launch and be embarrassed when a goddamn Silverado, a Sierra, a Ram, or something with an F, 150, 250, or 350, pull up. Might get a Toyota Tundra. 73,000 miles, $37,000, bro. For this piece of shit, bro. Listen, 6 cylinders. It only got 6 cylinders, bro. What is this thing finna do, bro? 3.5 liter engine. Bro, and they want $37 for it, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Anybody that buys this is crazy, bro. It's overpriced. Overpriced piece of shit.
Car price on this thing is $37,000, and it's got 73,000 miles. It is 4-wheel drive. 73,000 miles and 37 grand. And I want to show you something about this Honda Accord right here, and this is what a lot of their customers are going to fall into. This thing has 22.95% interest, and this is where a lot of their customers are going to fall into. So they're paying $607.
They'll finance it up to 22.95.
$15 a month for a $24,000 vehicle. And this is what I call the ultimate wealth killer, right? You pay that much money a month for the average family sedan. You're paying $24,000, but at the end of that, we'll throw a calculator up, it's going to be astronomical how much interest you're going to pay on that thing and how much you're going to pay total for that Honda Accord when you're signing up for that kind of interest rate. All right, now is it a consumer problem? Well, probably the answer is yes. We have prices that are way too high for them to actually afford. We have everything else, just inflation in general. Everything costs more than it did years ago. And we have people's wages that haven't gone up at the same rate that the prices that they're actually paying for goods, for rent, for housing. All these things are going up and not at the same rate as their wages are going up.
Not bad.
This is a big problem for the car market just because the consumer is so stretched. We have consumers that are not able to make their car payments. We have the highest level of repos and delinquencies that we've ever seen in the car market. And just in the last 3 years, the repo rates have gone up by 40%. That's absolutely insane.
Well, everybody worried about a box truck. Nightcrawler been saying it for a while. I've been agreeing with him. It's just, man, the repossession business, it's a dangerous job, especially in my market, but man, bro, the money that's probably being made right now in repossession is probably astronomical. Astronomical. And this is what I'm saying, like, people be so worried about, and Nightcrawler been saying it, and I've been agreeing with him, but now that I'm covering this repossession shit, people are so worried about a goddamn box truck. When the money right now is in repossession, recovery. Recovery is where the money is right now. That's where the money is at right now. You probably can get it on a recovery, on a minimum on a recovery, about $900. $900 to $1,000 on a minimum. On a minimum tip, $900 to $1,000.
And there's absolutely a problem with the consumer right now here in the car market, and that's going to hit CarMax, where CarMax makes a lot of their money, where Carvana makes a lot of their money, is actually selling vehicles to people who sign up for loans. And if a lot more people are actually defaulting on their loans, then a place like CarMax, they have to get tighter. If they get tighter, what happens? They sell fewer vehicles, and this is a big house of cards right here, because everything is built on debt. And if you take that debt away from a lot of consumers, well, what do you have? You have what's happening right here. You have sales that are going to fall. And I do want to check this out. RAV4s, whenever I see them, it's been rare over the last couple of years that we've been able to even find some here. But this is a 2020 Toyota RAV4 XLE. Price on it's $24,000, and it's got 34.
That's high. 5-year-old RAV4, $40,000 vehicle, 5 years, 34,000 miles, still 20 grand. That vehicle should be around $14,000, $15,000.
1,000 miles. So you can get a brand new one right now. I think somewhere around like 35 grand, if I'm not mistaken. I've been to a Toyota lot not that long ago. And this one right here is now 6 years old, and it's got 34,000 miles, and still 24 grand. Crazy. And now is CarMax the big problem that they're causing upon themselves? Well, we know that they just got rid of their CEO. So they think that there's a problem, so much so that they got rid of the person who was leading the ship, right? So then even go a step farther. In the last 6 months, they've lost about half of the value of their company. That is a big problem. That's something that investors are saying, okay, there's a big time problem, I want out. And here's the thing, the stock market, over the last 6 months, we've seen multiple all-time highs along the same time that CarMax's stock has crashed. This is a big problem. And here's the thing, CarMax has lowered their prices a little bit. You're not gonna really see the needle move because I think it's just by a few percent or whatever that they've actually lowered their prices. And it's just not doing stuff. Here's the thing. They're not going to be able to go in and lower their prices by 5, 10, 20% very quickly. It's a big, big corporation. And think about how much inventory they have sitting out here. They are only going to make the problem worse if they go and take all these cuts. Now, me and you, we see it, right? We see that they have a car, it's too much money. If it's going to move, it needs to be lowered. Yeah, you can do that on one car and be fine, but CarMax has hundreds of thousands of cars. I mean, just on this one lot. Look at that. There's probably 2,000 cars just in this one location. And CarMax has tons and tons of locations. They've dug themselves a massive, massive hole, and I'm not sure exactly what they can do to get out of it, because the answer is really not just lowering all their prices. They can't do that. That's too much of a hit. They're in this hole and they're gonna have to figure out something else to actually get out of it. And I don't know what that answer is. And oftentimes when a stock loses this much, or a company loses this much value in a very short amount of time, the shareholders who get destroyed through that, they want answers. And a lot of times it leads to something like this, that multiple class action lawsuits have been filed now against CarMax over stock declines and alleged misleading statements about their business performance, meaning that CarMax was saying that things were a lot better than they actually were. And then as we got earnings report after earnings report after earnings report, we started seeing, the Wall Street started saying, okay, things aren't so good. So we're going to start selling off this stock. And shareholders felt like they were misled because CarMax was like, no, everything's great. We got a pull forward in demand that's going to be happening. We got things coming up. This is just a blip. But then there's blip after blip after blip. Stock price keeps going down and down and down. And this is why it becomes a big problem for CarMax, because a lot of those shareholders, a lot of lawsuits, maybe the lawsuits don't lead to anything, but then there's still this just negative aura around the company. And investors, you got to have investors happy, because when investors are happy, they buy more stock. But if they're not, they start selling off stock, and then we're in the situation that we're in right now, right? Well, now, so what's the fix? Well, a lot of you are saying, well, you just lower your freaking prices, CarMax, right? That's going to fix everything. Well, I'm going to show you an example where it might not be. This is a 2016
Honda Accord EX. They want $24,000 for the fucking car, bro. Car is 10 years old, bro. It's got low miles, but $24,000, bro, for a 10-year-old economy car. How much was a 2016 Honda Accord in 2016? How much was a 2016 Honda Accord EX in 2016? $27,000. I think that's their base model. $27,000. So let's say 28. Fuck it. 10 years later, with 23,000, it's got low miles for 10 years old. They want $24,000 for it, bro. That's why CarMax's fucking stock price is down, bro. They're selling cars too high. This is why they can't move cars, bro. They can't.
Honda Accord EX, $24,000 here at CarMax. Crazy price, right? Way too much for that vehicle. But here's where CarMax can get kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, they have a competitor that has a very similar model to what they have. They have Carvana, right? And in a high percentage of the vehicles that actually show up here at CarMax and the inventory on Carvana online come from consumers. So here's the thing, CarMax can lower that price of that $24,000 Honda Accord to something where somebody actually pay for it. Maybe that number's $20,000. Let's just use that for an example. But when they go back into the marketplace and they try to, now they got to be buying that same Accord for $17,000, $18,000 to be able to make money on it. Well, they can't do it because Carvana is going to be offering $22,000 or $23,000 for that same Honda Accord. So yeah, CarMax can go and lower all their prices on these vehicles to a price that a customer will actually pay, but when they do that, they can't replace it because their competitor, who has a very similar model, who is paying up for these cars, well, they're paying more than what CarMax is willing to pay to be able to actually move metal. So this is a big time problem for CarMax because they might have tons of vehicles out here that they can sell if they lower the prices by $3,000, $4,000 in the range of like that Honda Accord. But when they go and they have to replenish their inventory to actually make money to move more metal, well, they can't do it because those customers are getting offered way more money from Carvana to be able to actually take their cars and buy them from that consumer. So they're just not going to be in the marketplace. And this is why it gets very difficult for CarMax, because yeah, they can lower their prices, but at the end of the day, they're going to be out of business if they lower all their price. I'm thinking about how much inventory they have sitting out here too. That's a big hit if they actually lower the prices to where someone will actually pay for it. I don't envy CarMax management right now because they still have to pay up for cars. And at the end of the day, when they pay up for cars, they have to make money on them. And when they come out here and price them up $2,200 to $2,400 higher than what they actually paid for it, there's no customers there because the actual market price of these things is what a customer will pay for it, and it's much lower than even what they're probably buying a lot of these cars for in the first place. And here's the thing, we have just a tiny bit of silver lining that's on the horizon, but it happens every year, so they should be able to plan for it. And that's spring selling season, that's tax time. Used car dealers, this is like our Christmas, right? We sell so many cars during this time. I'm a car dealer, I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. If I have 150 cars on my car lot around the end of February, beginning of March, we will sell out in about a 3 or 4
weeks. This car lot is to a tax buyer. That's why, in the hood, you see a lot of temp tags during tax time. But he has the demographic, the type of cars he sells targets that demographic of a person who's buying a car during tax time. A person who gets a tax check, $7,000, $8,000, they can't afford what CarMax and Carvana is charging because they're overcharging for cars right now. So yeah, a person who gets some tax money, they go get them a $5,000 holler. They go get them a slider. You dig what I'm saying? They go get them a slider. You dig? So that's his target audience.
Period. And CarMax is no different. They're not going to sell out because they have so many vehicles, but they're going to have a big bump in their sales. And their customers are very similar to mine. The only difference is my customers, they don't want to sign up for debt. They want to actually buy something that they can afford. When they have that cash, they'll come and they'll buy a full car and then they'll leave with it. No.
It's a different buyer, buddy. You selling shit for under a nickel. They selling the 2016 Honda Accord EX for $24,000, bro. That shit is crazy. Yeah, it's a totally different buyer.
They can't get that car repoed. They actually own the car. But with CarMax, you're going to have a customer that's very similar to mine, but the difference is that they're okay, instead of buying a car for $3,500, putting that cash down that they just got from their tax refund, they're putting that $3,500 down on the car and then making payments from there. But still, in a similar type of customer income earner that I deal with is the same thing that CarMax deals with. And I know that they're going to actually get a bump in the next quarter, and we're going to see it. But every year we know it's coming, so I don't know if this is baked into the stock already or if investors know this, but it seems like it's a likely scenario and something that they should be forecasting for. But here's the problem. If tax time is not strong for a place like CarMax, and they're expecting it to be, and they're forecasting for it to be, and it doesn't happen, that's even more downside. And a place like CarMax, if they're actually stocking up for it, massive dealership like this stocking up for it, and it doesn't come through for them as strong as they think it will, that's going to be a lot more money, because on the other side of tax time, we have used car prices that crash every single year. I experience this every single year going to auctions. Prices get jacked up because people have money, and then they fall off a cliff because people already spent the money, and if they're going to buy a car, they're going to buy it during that time frame. So if you don't capitalize during that time, then you can get bitten. And that's one worry I have for CarMax, but that's something that we're going to see in the next quarter and a half.
I don't know, guys. I don't know, man. It's messed up out here in these streets. From what I see, you got a lot of people buying things that they can't afford, and now they're losing those things because of decisions that they made 2021, 2022, 2023, and shit. Even still, like I know a nice amount of people last year that got repossessed. Either I know them or I know them indirectly through people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. But the price of these used cars, man, are too high. It's messed up out here, man. I think people just need to make wise decisions when they go out and buy just anything, any just large purchase. I think people need to purchase things that are within their means, and they have to think about the future. Don't put yourself in too much debt. Just think about the unforeseen situations that can happen later on, man. I don't know, bro. This shit is crazy, man. You're right. The 2020 going for the price. Yeah, you talking about the Honda Accord. Yeah, the Honda Accord, the 2020, I think, was just about the same price as the 2016. Like, I don't know, man. CarMax fell off, bro. I never bought a car from CarMax, but their stock price now is horrible, and they fell off. Just watching this, the prices is just entirely too high. I don't know if they're buying cars too high. I don't know what their issue is. I understand that a lot of people aren't selling their cars now. So, maybe that's increasing the demand for, within the auction buying within their community, maybe that they're competing to get inventory. So they're bidding higher. I don't know, but from what I see, man, these used car prices are entirely too high still. Shout out to Van Hustle, what's going on? But I don't know, man. What y'all thoughts, man? Y'all ain't got no thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and skedaddle and get out of here. But I did want to react to that. I had a few requests for people who want me to talk about it. Now, as far as the trucks is concerned, let me look at that real quick before I go. Let's see. Let me see. Well, I still got the goddamn stream starting soon button up. I did not take that button off. And nobody even tell me. I'm sitting up here tweaking. All right. Let me see something. Let me see. How do I want to filter this out? Let's see. Price lowest. No, we want to do 26 foot. Search. I usually search for this shit. Let's see. Oh. Fuck is this, bro? That's not how. All right, here we go. Let me just do it like this. Fuck it. Price lowest to highest. Fuck is these things? Why are they showing me this? This is not what I want to see, bro. Hold on, bro. How do I normally do this? Let's do Chicago on the water. I get it. I didn't put the fucking. Let's do 25 miles. Let's do 26 feet. Search. What the fuck, bro? No, bro. Goofy ass. There we go. Price lowest to highest. All right, let's see what we got. Box truck prices. Let's try to look at box truck prices. Oh man, it look like box truck prices going up. Oh, let's stretch this out, bro. Let's go out 50 miles. Look like box truck prices look like they going up. 2001 Freightliner nickel. 2020 International. 33,000. 2018 Freightliner 34. Yeah, box truck prices look like they going up. Look like they going up. 2020. Yeah, prices is going up. Excuse me. Level 2. 19. 2020 International, 20 on 30, 33. 2018, 34. Yeah, prices look like they going up. That's crazy, bro. I was just on this site maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, and this shit was like these trucks are like $10,000 to $15,000 cheaper, bro. They getting ready for tax time. That's the play. They know it's tax season, and they know it's gonna be a lot of oofy goofies coming in with their tax money. They laying up with the broad right now. You know how the niggas do around tax time. They gotta go find them a victim. They go and found them a big broad, and they finessing her right now as we speak. Somewhere right now as we speak in America, it's a few guys right now at 2:00 in the morning. They putting in work. I swear for God on everything I love. Listen, they got the big broad and they tearing a hole in that thing right now. And they whispering sweet nothing in her ear right now as we speak. Somewhere in America, in multiple locations in America, it's some niggas putting in work. It's some niggas putting in work right now. And in 30 to 45 days, they gonna hand them the whole check and they gonna go get them a box truck. These prices are set for them types of guys because these prices was cheaper 2-3 weeks ago. On everything I love, I'm not bullshitting you, bro. These trucks is priced too high. They got the prices set for the tax guys. on everything I love, bro. 2018 International, bro. This truck should be $28,000, bro. Is this? What is this? Hell no, bro. What are they talking about? Yeah, they got this shit priced for the tax season. These are tax season prices. They done raised all the prices, bro. Man, these niggas think they think they slick, bro. These dirty motherfuckers, bro. Dirty, man. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. 2020. Fuck out of here, bro. Look at this shit, bro. Hell no. Man, bro. This shit crazy. These prices was like $10,000 to $15,000 cheaper just 2 weeks ago. $2022 Freightliner, 118,000 miles, $72,000, bro. The fuck? Bro, I swear on everything I love, 2 weeks ago, when I pulled this shit up, these prices was $10,000, $15,000 cheaper. Maybe even more for some of these trucks. This shit crazy, bro. Dynamic pricing, you right. They know it's tax season. They know it's a bunch of goofies that's gonna pay. So they taking advantage of it. They know it's tax season and they know the goofies coming right now. Just like that, they went up on the price. Shit crazy, bro. Shit crazy, bro. Yeah, Penske definitely out of their mind. But then again, are they? They know it's a bunch of goofies about to come in with tax money. I'm telling you, man. Right now in America, it's man-mans and pookies at this very moment, bro. They putting in work. Right now, they putting in work. They putting in work, bro. At this very moment, they tearing some shit up right now. And they been tearing it up since 5 days ago. And they're going to tear it up till that money hit that account. And she gonna just give it to him to go start the box truck business. And then we're gonna have a bunch more people bite the dust, bro. It's work being put in right now for one of these trucks. It's some work being put in. It's some work being put in right now for one of these trucks, bro. One of these high-ass trucks that they just raised the prices on overnight. This shit crazy, bro. This shit crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. Shit don't make no goddamn sense. These trucks was just $28,000, $17,000, $31,000, $32,000, $10,000 off manager specials. It was a bunch of manager specials, all type of shit 2 weeks ago. This shit crazy. You don't see no manager specials. Oh, here go a manager special. Ooh. 2019 Freightliner, 254,000 miles. This one up in Milwaukee, level 2. This might be a CEL truck. Hold on, let me see something. Let's see. CDL required. Yep, I told you. And these dirty motherfuckers, boy. I don't know, man. If you watching this, man, and you get into the box truck and you waiting on your boo bae to get her taxes, you know, man, you might want to be careful, man. These prices is overpriced, bro. They looking to get you. They looking to get you, man. They looking to get you, man. He said, man, my goofy with the ball one thanks, man. You know that's what I'm here for, man. This shit too overpriced, pimp. Yeah, man. I watched the play, man. The play had to happen in the past 2 weeks because I swear folk out on everything I love, man. These shits was about $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000 cheaper 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's a tax play, man. Yeah, it's a tax play, man. It's like he said in the chat. It's a dynamic pricing, man. They got to get it, man. They got to get it, man. It's business, man. They know it's a bunch of goofies getting tax money. Man, right now putting in work. Man right now got a big brawl, nailing them right now from the back. You dig what I'm saying? Like Ply say, from the bike right now as we speak, putting in work, sweating in the motherfucker, tired than the motherfucker, putting in work for the box truck. He finna overpay for one of these motherfuckers, bro. The motherfucker won't overpay, bro. Give him a freight line. He like, yeah, they heard. Big Vic said get a freight line. He said, okay, he gonna go get him a freight liner. Oh no, he gonna go get him a 2019 with 174,000 miles for 42,000. Let me see. This might be a C. No, it's a non-CDL. This looks non-CDL. Right. So no CDL. He gonna pay 42 for it. Then what he gonna do is he gonna go to like Dakota Financing or some goofy ass shit like that, or Top Mark, and they gonna get his goofy ass. And then this 42 gonna turn into 72. This 42 gonna be 72 by it's all said and done, because he gonna have to go through that Dakota Financing or Top Mark. You gonna hit this button right here. You're gonna hit that button right there with his goofy ass. And then he gonna fill in all this goofy shit and he gonna think it's sweet. And then he gonna find my channel afterwards talking about, man, the node and the box truck business is trash and the loads ain't loading and the rates ain't rating. And then I'm gonna have to hold him accountable. And I'm gonna say, when you buy your truck? He gonna say, man, I bought my truck in January, February. He gonna tell me what he paid for it. And I'm going to say, man, your boo bae gave you the money to get that truck, didn't you? Yeah, Mark, how you know? I'm going to say, don't worry about it. Man, pimp, check it out, man. You overpaid for that truck by about $15,000. It's going to be it. Yeah, man. Well, who I told to take the truck back? I told a bunch of people to take the truck back. Hey, man, I done told a bunch of people to take the truck back. Man, bro. He said sig break before round 4. Man, bro. You know, cats right now putting in that work, man, with a big one. Man. Let me see. Say you in the market for a 28. Yeah, you might need to look on Commercial Truck Trader for that, bro. That's like a specialty. Said they're gonna sell that truck for $20,000 in 6 months. Yep. As soon as tax season over with, them prices gonna go right back to normal. You said fuel about to drop. I think here's what I'm thinking. I think yes, it's gonna drop, but I think after it drops, we're gonna enjoy it for a while, and then after that little while, it's gonna go up tremendously. I think we're gonna see what we saw in there's going to be some repercussions, bro. There's going to be some repercussions. You're going to enjoy probably some cheap prices for a little while, but then there's going to be some repercussions that follow up behind it, bro. So that's all I'm going to say about that for right now, man. But yeah, fuel probably going to drop for a little while, and then I think it's going to go. Then we're going to see prices that we never like high, like we never sort of kind of like how they was in 2022. So just be prepared. Not saying it's going to be this year, but there's going to be some repercussions, bro. But all right. You from Cali, so then you already know. You used to paying high fuel. All right. I think this was a good show. I hit my commitment. I know. I think it hit $7, $8 out there in 2022, like like May. Was that May of 2022? May, June 2022. I heard it was like $7, $8 out there. Yeah. All right, y'all. I feel my commitment of my late night with Mark episode for the week. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. About to get me some sleep because I got to be up for my afternoon show. I got to be up and prepare it. All right. So y'all that's out driving, I want y'all to be safe tonight. Make sure y'all get home safe. Make sure y'all drive safe. And I'll see you later on this afternoon. Peace.